All right, welcome back to Daybreak Africa, coming to you from the Lagos studio of KAFTAN Television. It's time for our interview segment, and like you know, it's our social day on the program. And today we have an interesting social topic to discuss with you, which is parental negligence, its effect on young adults and kids. So we know what's going on in the society. So we felt the need to bring this discussion to the studio. And we're being joined by a social commentator in person of Esther Edem. How are you doing? Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
Very well,
thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, so I don't know if, getting to hear about the topic, parental negligence, some people really don't want to talk about it because some of them are probably a product of one of such occurrences whereby probably their father neglected them with the mother, or there are a lot of stories around parental negligence. So let's just get right into the conversation, especially the effect on kids and young adults. A lot of videos have been going online. A lot of people have been talking about things that kids do right now, and sometimes I look at myself and I'll be like when I was this age, I can't even dare to do something like this. So what can you make of what's going on with kids and young adults right now in society?
Okay. I feel one of the reasons is parents, especially the working class parents, not being able to take care of their children, not having time for the kids. Yes, especially for the younger kids who needs the attention, who needs their mom or their dad to speak with, and they are not always there. For instance, they could go to work and then come back in the night. The child wants to tell them what happened maybe in school, or who has been abusing or bullying them, and then please go away tomorrow. I'm tired right now. So this is one of, and the children tend to grow up becoming lonely in life. Some of them are like, please let me do this. After all, my mom doesn't even care about me, my dad doesn't care about me. Some go into drinking, some into drug abuse, different types of things, just because no one cares. And this is really a danger in the society. At the end of the day, when these children grow up, they become something else in the society, something more dangerous even, because some of them, they're like, oh, please, after all, when I grew up, my dad never cared about me, and then they go into drinking, smoking. Some even go into prostitution. Some of these prostitutes, it's due to lack of negligence from the mother or the father side, or even parental care. So that is one of.
One thing is, we know that they say there's a popular phrase that says that it takes a community to raise a child, right? And I think when we were younger, we all had that neighbor that we always call that. There's this nosy neighbor that is always like, "Where are you going to? Where are you coming from?" Everywhere. But nowadays, it's not always the case. And you mentioned something earlier. You said that the parents have to go to work to make ends meet, to get money, and to take care of the kids. So if we are talking about parents going to work, would you say that parents should probably cut down on work hours or working hours? Because now we see that the economy now is obviously not smiling. Everybody is trying to make ends meet and all of that. And nobody can say that okay, I want to cut down my working hours just because I want to stay with you, I want to look after you and all of those things. So what would you say in picking or in making a choice when it comes to, okay, parents focusing on their work and parents focusing on children or their kids, what would you say is the best option?
Okay, I would say, because you can't really stop your work and you can't stay at home. So I would rather say, with the little time you have, just irrespective of the hour, just try to give your child that little care. Even while eating in the morning, okay, how are you today? How do you do? How was school yesterday? Oh, you wanted to ask me something. What was it? You have your time. You have the time to eat. You have the time to rest. Your resting hour, just out of 4 or 5 hours of your night, just give the child, even if it's just 30 minutes or an hour. It doesn't matter. It's a child. You plan for it, so you have to go in for it. It's part of your sacrifice.
Okay, now I like the angle you're actually coming from. But then we've had kids whereby they didn't grow up with their parents. They are being nurtured and trained by guardians. We have orphans in the society that were not, they didn't really pass through those, lessons that you're really supposed to learn from your parents. And a lot of all of this actually brings up a society. A society is not just where we have kids, where we have children, not necessarily means that, you know, they have a father figure or they have a mother figure that actually nurtured them. A lot of people were being nurtured by caregivers. We have nannies. Like you were saying that now they can't leave their job. They need to create times. But sometimes you don't have that time. Even as much as, you know, you really want to. You feel like, okay, let me get a proper nanny to take care of my child, or let me call my younger sister or someone close to come stay with me so that they can nurture my child to me. Are you trying to say the impact of that father figure, the impact of that mother figure, you know, it's actually showing on these kids, so thereby by the time they turn out to be what and what in the society, the parents has to take the blame too?
Yes, to an extent, because no one can train your child as much as you do. Even when you employ those nannies and house help and all that, they can't play that fatherly or motherly role in your family, no matter how good a person is.
What if I don't have a father, I don't have a mother?
Exactly.
Okay, it's a different case. Whoever is looking after you or whoever is caring for you should equally play that role. Since as long as the person is under you, are automatically the person's parent or mother or father, whoever. So irrespective of the fact that you are not this person's mother, you should, as long as you have the time, you should equally train this child, because when this child grows up, it is still the society that will blame you at the end of the day. They will ask, how did you grow up? Who were your parents? By the time you say, oh, this are the people I lived it, they were like, oh, so you couldn't train this child because it is not yours? So definitely the blames will be shifted. So I will still advise, no matter where a child is coming from, as long as it's under your roof, you should always take care of these children or this child as your own.
Okay.
Do not neglect them.
Okay, you know, there are so many sides to, you know, discussions like this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be coming from the point where we see that, you know, an environment where we see that the father is not educated, the mother is not educated.
Yeah.
Now, this I remember a particular incident that happened just, you know, over the weekend, I think on Sunday, and this young guy, probably a teenager, that I met with him and we started discussing, and I was asking him some questions. I think I was trying to fill in his biodata. So I was asking, okay, what's your date of birth? And he said he does not know. I was surprised. I was like, okay, isn't that you? Are you trying to joke with me, or you really do not know your birthday? He said he does not know that. And I asked that, okay, where's your mother? Do you have a mother and all of that? He said he does not know his mom, that he stays with his father. And now, when you see, you know, the physical look of the boy, of the guy now, he doesn't look, you know, well kept. Even, you know, the basic simple English, he does not have to communicate, you know, in another language, in Yoruba language, because he does not even understand, you know, what I was saying. Now look at situations like this. We see that, and this is coming from someone who stays around, you know, Agege, as you know, this is where, you know, people like that come from. They have fathers, probably absent fathers or mothers, or they even have uneducated or illiterate parents. So what can we say about that? Because many times they turn out to be, you know, people, you know, in gangs. They turn out to be people that, you know, just live life like there's nothing there for me and all of that.
So on the community.
So what would you say? How would you bring the part of parental care into this?
Okay, if I get you right, you said if I got you right, father, you said he had a father, right?
Yes, he
it
had
was
a father.
The mother
he
whom
stays
he
with his
doesn't
father,
have.
yes, but he has an absent mother.
Then I feel whether you are an illiterate or not, you should be able to know the time your wife gave birth. If you don't know the calendar, ask neighbors. Definitely.
You know, sometimes it's easier said than done. Many times they do not care.
These days, we are in an enlightened world.
Present when the woman gave birth. You know, I feel, you know, when we talk about things like this, we should, like she rightly said earlier, there are so many angles to it. There are so many perspectives to it. Likewise, reasons we have children that, you know, they were not trained, you know, you just found them on the streets, and sometimes you'll be wondering who raised you. Sometimes, you know, they act certain ways and be like, who have you been talking to lately and all of that. The same way we have people that they saw their background, they saw everything, and they feel like, oh no, my background, like the usual mantra, like my background should not put my back on the ground. They feel like even if I came out of this, we've seen a lot of people that in fact they were orphans, no family member took care of them. They were practically living their life and they still came out well. They still did not, they still didn't turn out bad, even with the fact that the parents were absent. There was no caregiver, there was no guardian. Even the people they were actually living with, there were people that they can actually introduce them to certain things. Haven't you seen fathers or guardians that will send people, go and buy me cigarette, go and get me this, go and get me alcohol, go and, you know, you can easily be influenced by that. I've seen a child that, you know, they had to summon the parent to come to school. That, you know, we asked your child what the name of the father was, and he said Olori Buruku. Olori Buruku means somebody that is mentally unstable or something. And what of your mother's name? Like weary, like somebody that is mad. And the teacher was like, how can you be? He said, that's the name my mom calls my dad, and that's the name my dad calls my mom. And that child grew up in that kind of environment, and he or she feels like that's the way the society is. And she came to school and was trying to introduce things like that. And I've seen a case where a boy child was telling a girl, I will slap you the way my dad used to slap my dad.
My mom.
My mom, rather. And people were like, why would you do that? Because, you know, slapping is like a regular, in their house. So sometimes kids, the part of, you know, neglecting them or not putting them right can actually affect a lot of things. But sometimes some of them, they go through all this and still turn out well. So what are they doing differently?
It's determination. I think that's one of it as well. The child determined, irrespective of the background and the environment and everything. But then the child must have seen people. Because you can't tell me that this child just grew up without seeing others. Probably he or she must have seen other families growing up in that way, and she has found out that hers is not going on well. So she kind of have a role model whom she wished to follow, and that is just it. That's one thing I believe.
Okay, you know, let's move away from family and then move to institutions. Now we talk about institutions like the school, maybe religious organizations, and probably let's say other family members. Now coming to the school, first of all, many times you see that children spend long hours at school and, you know, just the few hours at home. Many times we see school nowadays is not what we know it to be. I recently saw a video where just a graduation party, a child was all over singing, you know, secular songs which had vulgar words in them, and singing it so confidently, and even trying to let the attention be on her and all of those things. So what's your take on the fact that, you know, schools do not even have a boundary, do not have ways to protect a child or ways to probably raise a child nowadays as we see it?
Okay. To me, I believe that school is another home away from home. The teachers themselves are equally parents. They are mothers, they are fathers. So if you see a child who is not going in accordance, you try to correct. You mustn't beat. You pull the child close, speak to the child. Sometimes some of them lack love, some lack attention. That's just it. Some of them, I know of a child who likes displaying all sorts of naughty things. Not because the child wants it, she just needs attention. Not the scolding, just why are you doing this? The fact that you just called this child and said, why are you doing this? You know that this thing is not good. From that day henceforth, just check the child's attitude. Some are like that. One thing about life is observe. Observe the kind of children or child you have, and then know the way to follow.
So are you a part of the school of thought that do not appreciate beating a child? Because you see nowadays, don't beat, no, you must not beat my child. I don't want you to beat him. But when we grew up, when we were growing, they beat us a lot. And I don't think we turned out bad, or we had scars or any mental issues, you know, as many like people say it's now.
More like a reset button. Yes, you know, if you're beaten, you're being told what to do. Like if they beat you, like then you know that you were being beaten because you did something wrong and you need to correct it. But nowadays Now, where I'm going is, we've been talking about how one of the reasons actually why kids are neglected, and one of the cogent reasons we've actually pointed out is the fact that, you know, the parents tend to pay more attention to their career. Now, is that the only cause of child neglect? If we look at it, haven't you thought about, okay, whether parents have kids they don't really want at the moment? For example, they plan to have 2 kids, and mistakenly there came a 3rd one, and you know, probably the father, let's take the current economic situation, and you know, there has been talks like, babe, see, we are not doing more than these 2 we have on ground, please. However way you want to do it, I don't know, but let's not do more than 2. And you know, mistakenly, let's just, the way they used to say it, like, you know, mistakenly it happened, and there was nothing to do about it. They just felt like, okay, it has happened, and one way or the other, the husband that actually gave the rules, like, to take care of another child in this economy, don't you think that kind of a child will feel it more, or the parents will probably feel like more like this child is unwanted, like we didn't plan for you, we didn't plan for you. Even the small morals that we are even managing to allow to go around, like you're coming to take care of it. Don't you think that could be one of the reasons why parents feel like, you know, I'm done with this, these 2 are what I want, this one just came, you know, it's just a coincidence, or it just happenstance, or it just happened? Don't you think that could be a reason too?
It is one of the reasons, but then it's a child. Whether you plan for it or not, the deed has been done. So you just have to adjust to it. Accept the child. Do not neglect a child for any reason. Every child is given to you by God, and you have to take responsibility for that. That is one thing about parents, irrespective of how the child came. It's your own. You have to take care of the child. That is one thing I believe.
Yeah, also we said something about, I think my coach was asking you were talking as if you don't believe in flogging a child, like raising your hand to take care of a child, to, you know, and we were corrected, like we said earlier, by different means. Now, I think the most recent ones I've heard is go to the naughty corner. Yeah, or you know, they will withdraw certain things from them. Okay, let's say your child watches cartoon between 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. You know, you tell them there's no cartoon for you today. You're not taking ice cream this day. You're not. Don't you think one way or the other that's you probably neglecting the child, because you're depriving the child of something?
For that one, I believe if you should take something away from a child, maybe because the child misbehaved, I believe you should also tell the child, this thing you did is not good. Look, the reason why I took this thing from you is because you did this. One thing parents do these days, and which is not good, is you beat the child. Any little thing, at any little provocation, you beat the child without telling the child what he or she did, and that is very wrong. After beating a child, tell the child, see, this thing you did, is it good? The child will even open mouth and tell you, no daddy, no mommy, it is not good. By so doing, you have already inculcated that guilty conscience in the child, and the child will be conscious of what he or she is going to do next time.
But you know, there are situations whereby, you know, a child is probably taken to the naughty corner, or probably they take stuffs from the child, or even they beat that child. And still the child still turns out to be, you know, very naughty, does the same thing over and over and over and over again. So what can be done in situations like that? Would you still say that, okay, you know, bring the child close, let's rub the child's head, let's, you know, probably pet the child and all of those things?
If you've done your best and it's not working, put the child in prayer. That's one thing I believe. Prayer is one of the key as well. As a parent, if you tried all you can, no matter the religion you come from, prayer is one of the key aspects in training children.
What about my atheist?
Whatever you believe in, just pray for your child. That's one thing I believe.
You should just pray for the child.
Pray for your child. If you try your best, do your best. I believe the atheist you are, you still perform some kind of rituals and prayer. Whatever you are, just pray for the well-being of your child. That's one thing I believe.
Okay, as we wrap up the program now, so what are the things you think parent can actually do to curb this menace? Because one way or the other, this is like a problem in this society, because you know, if a child is not properly raised, it turns out to be, or she turns out to be, you know, something that the society would, they just want to get rid of. They constitute nuisance to the society, and before you know, like, is that not so person's child? In fact, a lot of people they want to cut themselves away from that kind of way. Like, no, I'm not related to this person. No. They start doing a lot of that. But then, since it's a parental thing, so what do you think parents can actually do more to, you know, to take away this neglect of a thing, to probably bring in, be more open and to your kids, you know, let them be free with you, let them be, you know, let them come into you to understand that, okay, this is me, your father, and this, anything I tell you to do is what you should do. So how do you think they can actually do that?
Okay, one of it is discipline. 2, having time, creating time for your children. 3, being your child's best friend. When you become your child's best friend, the child can tell you whatever he or she is going through. By so then, it's true to be rigid at times, but then at times you become liberal. Allow the child to come close to you, so that by so then you know the needs and wants of your child. You know where the child is doing well and where the child is not doing well, both academically, morally, and otherwise. And thirdly, avoid domestic violence, because children see what they see is the actions they take. So if you are the type that beats your wife in the presence of your children, stop that, because when the child grows up tomorrow, definitely you would do the same thing, or she would do the same thing. I'll say, after my daddy did it and my mommy did not go out of the house. So what is there? So by so then, if you are the type that stabs your wife or sees things from them, the children are watching, and what they say, it is what the children see while growing up. That's what they do at the end of the day. So that is one thing I urge parents to do. And also in the educational aspect, please, parents, try your best to make sure you survey the kind of school you send your children to, because it's not all schools that are schools. Try your best to know the kind of things they do, even their teacher. Be your child's teacher's friend. Yes. By so doing, you also checkmate what the child is doing, both in class and in the school as a whole. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful time with you.
Thank you.
And I hope the viewers have actually picked a point or two from what you said. You know, it's not easy. Yeah, training up a child is not an easy task. Like I said, we should have prayers to eat, inculcate discipline, be your child's mentor, be your child's best friend. You know, a lot of things. We've discussed quite a number of things on the show, and we pray that, you know, as you go in this might, let me put it that way, the Lord strengthens you.
Amen.
And also, I feel, you know, the wisdom to actually nurture the child in the right path. You know, everything will unfold as we go. So that's the much we can take. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, viewers, I'm sure you enjoyed every bit of the session with Esther. We'll take a quick break now. Daybreak returns in a moment. We will be right back.